Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
A hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
Rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Thunder breaks, the ground is shaking from the weight. Voices crying in the night, but freedom burns a steady light. We hold the line, we won't let go. Through every trial, the truth will show. This is your daily dose. Open your eyes, see through the smoke, see through the lights. Rise from the silence, hear freedom's call. One voice, one people, united we stand tall.
Hearts awaken, chains undone. A new day breaks, the dawn has come. Through every battle, through the flame, our faith in God remains the same. The storm may rage, the night may fall, but hope will answer stronger than all.
This is your daily dose. Courage and fire, lifting the weak, lifting us higher. Not by the sword, but the truth we recall. Where we go on, we go on. We've seen the darkness try to reign. We felt the sorrow, we've known the pain. But every trial has forged the steel. In God we trust, His plan is real.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Josh. Welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. I hope everybody is doing well out there and having a fantastic start to your week. And we're about an hour and a half late tonight, and I apologize about that. I was going to get some hamburger buns because I was grilling out, and I had a flat tire. So I had to change the flat tire. Then I couldn't get the spare down. And anyways, got the flat tire, got to take the tire in tomorrow to get replugged because I just plugged it the other day. So I apologize for that, but you know, life happens. And then on the other hand, my internet is wonky over here. So I am tired. I've been working my ass off the last, it's been beautiful out here in Minnesota. So this is like where you get all your yard work done. And I got a lot of stuff to get done. So I just been working my ass off, kind of like even taking a break from social media. It's kind of weird, but doesn't mean that we're not going to get our daily dose, right? Someone asked, Josh, are you tired? I'm faster than lightning, and someone in the audience will know what I'm talking about there. But what is going on in the world? That's what you guys are all here for. You're like, hey, what's happening? What's going on? What's your perspective on what's going on? Well, we got a few different things going on. We got the UFO files. Listen, there's going to be tranches of these coming out. We're going to wait because something better is coming from what I gather. You got Trump today, very, very vocal the last few days. So we're going to look at a few of the different clips of President Trump. We got a few different things happening in Congress and Senate. Warsh was confirmed. Trump talking about Fort Knox. And then we got Iran and the United States. And it seems that kinetic conflict is done, but we might be in for some wild cards, something that we talked about just about a month ago, in the sense that no. Why do you think Trump just gave a $10 billion arms package to all of these countries over in the Middle East? It wasn't for the United States to continue this war. It was for them to continue this war. We're going to talk about that as well. And Trump heading to China at the end of the week. So it's going to be a banger. And what did Trump say today that was so important that all the Anons caught on to it, as well as the name of the show tonight? Listen to what Trump says right here. Okay, there it is.
Perhaps that's experience. I always knew that, we were being just absolutely decimated, but, I was hunted. I was the hunter, now I'm the... I was the hunted then, and I had to devote a lot of time to that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been too effective. Yeah. If I was out of office, I wouldn't have been. So I was hunted by some very bad people. Now I'm the hunter. It's much better when you're the hunter.
Straight out of the cue boards. That's huge. Because I think it's indicative of what is coming next, of everything that is about to unfold. And then correlating with that, the White House posted a 3-minute long video on the American Revolution and how the revolution is not over again. I'm not going to play it just because there is music to it, but I will bring it up. It is a 3-minute long video. The White House did post this yesterday, and it was the revolution that began in 1776 has not ended and still continues because the flame of liberty still burns in every American patriot, and our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Now, that's interesting because some events happened last week that many people were not paying attention to. Prime Minister of Canada, Mark Carney, went to Armenia. And in Armenia, you had kind of various different nations that went out there and met up. And they were like, hey, what's going on? Look, nothing much, man. What's going on over there? Want to give a shout out to Sherry Bertrand, 4026. Hey, Josh and fellow patriots, God bless America on YouTube with a $9.99 super chat. Appreciate it, Sherry. Thank you so much. But going into this is what you need to begin to see. Mark Carney met with Steinmeier and Macron and all of these guys, the Prime Minister of Australia. Now, when you start to look at it, it's all the old countries that are affiliated with the British Empire. And what did Mark Carney say is that the liberal rules-based international order that was constructed as the United States as a founding member after World War II is no longer. It is gone. And he said that we shall form a new world order. And so there he goes. Canada trying to fill the shoes of the United States, rising themselves up. And I know people have been sending me this stuff about the United States and Canada going to war. I don't know, maybe. I hope not. I like Canadians. I think they're good people. They got a corrupt ass government, though, and they are beholden to the King Charles. But when we start to look at what's going on, is we have to see that there are various different factions. And now I know Promethean Action. I think they're awesome at what they do. I think they are spot on with almost everything they're saying, but you have to expand out a little bit. What you have to do is you can't just say the British Empire or the royalty. You have to include various different factional bloodlines. You have to include the London bankers, the Rothschilds. You have to include Soros and other European dynasties that rose up at the end of the British Empire. Right? You have to include the technocrats. You have to include Big Pharma. You have to take these all as factionalities that have merged together. So when I look at this, I call that the old guard, the old British aristocracy and all of these guys, the royal bloodlines, the London bankers. And think about them as cartels that work together, mafiosos that work together. So what you have them doing now is formulating and plotting a rise of power. Now, typically, any time in history that you have a massive transitional position of power that is occurring, obviously the 90-year cycle of the fourth turning that we're in right now, every time there is going to be some big, massive war that ensues. Now, modern warfare has definitely changed. It's psychological, it's informational, it can be biological, it can be space-based. The one problem with many of these countries that we're talking about here is they don't have the military and defense that was built up or capable of fighting any type of war like that. At the other hand, they do have it built up to where they can fight political, economic, and psychological and informational war. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this rolls out. I don't think they're going to sit on their hands for the next 4 years and wait out Donald Trump and try to hope that they get a chance with Rubio or with JD Vance. I think that there's going to be some big moves made here over the course of probably the next year, the next 12 months to basically reassert their power and authority over the United States of America. We're going to talk about one of the positions that we actually saw that are forming right now within all of this here in a few minutes. I have to get to the post first. But before, so we're gonna go into just a soft transition, but I want to go ahead and read this out real quick. This is for Rumble. And if you guys are interested in this, you can go on over to my Rumble page and find all the information on this. Quick question: how much control do you actually have over your money right now? Technology has changed everything, and now it's changing how money works. I want to bring up the live chat. Crypto started as a niche, and now it's going mainstream. Faster payments, more control, fewer middlemen. This isn't hype. It's just where things are going. And getting started today is easier than you think. That's where Rumble Wallet comes in. With Rumble Wallet, you can buy Bitcoin, hold dollar-backed stablecoins, even digital gold backed by real gold, all in one place. Setup is simple. It connects with MoonPay, so you can use your debit card, credit card, or bank account and be up and running in minutes. It's not about the amount. It's about getting in early and understanding what's coming next. And once you're set up, you can even tip your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this now. Scan the QR code and click the link in the description and download the Rumble wallet. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game. Take control of your money. Get started with Rumble Wallet today. And yeah, we got some action over there on Rumble. We got Meiji gifted 1 subscription. Thank you so much, Meiji. Andy Pearson, $5 Rumble rant. Josh needs a new tire. Dropping him $5. Appreciate it, Andy. Sting Tammy, $5 holla holla. Josh needs a new tire. You guys are awesome. And then JSW432, Jeff over there, get the 5 subscriptions to the Red Pill Project. Thanks, so guys, I appreciate you guys. And you know, Rumble rants and YouTube super chats are some of the best ways to go out there and support me. Subscriptions to those platforms or any of our premium platforms are. But if you just want to go to the redpills.tv, 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 there's tons of ways. I mean, we got there's PayPal. You can go in here. We got upcoming events. Tons of stuff in here, but there's a support section. And if you go into that support section, you get your PayPal and you get your Give, Send, and Go. Give.redpills.tv. Give.redpills.tv. And if you scroll down to the bottom, there's the crypto course that's still out there. We got our modern occultism course that's still up there. So tons of different ways to help support everything that we do here. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for all the support. But let's jump into it. All federal agencies must buy American. No excuses. This is from President Donald Trump. This weekend, for decades, Washington politicians sent your taxpayer dollars overseas and let foreign countries rip us off while our workers, factories, and supply chains were left behind. That betrayal is over. My administration is strengthening Made in America laws, ending waiver loopholes, and stopping the federal government from buying foreign products when great American products are available. And to the DC bureaucrats, no more handing out waivers like candy, no more rubber stamping exceptions by foreign products while American workers are getting shafted. We are putting American workers, American factories, and American supply chains first, bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. I already signed Executive Order 14392 to crack down on fake Made in America claims, and we are enforcing it hard. No more games, no more fake labels, no more ripping off the American taxpayer. American first means buy American. President Donald J. Trump. I love this. And it's an indication of where things are heading. You know, if you go back to the national security strategy and the national defense strategy that came out last year, this is an alignment towards Americans' dominance in the 21st century. And this is where all of this is heading right now and what Donald Trump is setting up for. All the deals he's negotiating, all the tariffs he's implementing, all the wars that he's waging are so that American prosperity can be ensured for generations to come. So really critically important to understand that. Shout out to JSW, Jeff over there, $20 Rumble rant. And then we have Bear 1007, another $20 Rumble rant. Still finding money in my couch. Great work. Thanks for all you do. And then we got S Quinn, $20. Grab a white wall tire. Appreciate you guys. You guys are awesome. Man, such a great audience. You guys truly are awesome. But yeah, tires are expensive. Actually, I need 2 tires. So a busted tie rod. I need my other tire needs it's gonna get expensive. I just put new tires on last year. It's crazy. The U.S. Senate has successfully advanced Kevin Warsh to become Trump's chairman of the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell has just days left before he's gone. If you notice, Jerome Powell is trying to stick around. He's trying to make himself one of the board of governors. He's also trying to reassert his power and authority over the Fed. The reason I think Powell is doing this is because the bankers understand that Donald Trump is up to something. There is something more going on here than meets the eye with putting Kevin Warsh in place at the Federal Reserve. Now, is Powell going to have any jurisdictional authority over Walsh? I don't think so. Not only that, is Powell himself is under investigation. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens if he does decide to stick around. And I think that's one of the reasons he is sticking around, because he doesn't want to get prosecuted. But Kevin Warsh confirmed as the next Fed chair. And that becomes pretty huge, because I think there's going to be some things happening. If you understand Kevin Warsh's kind of idealism when he was coming into the Federal Reserve, the one thing that he wants to do is he wants to massively decrease the federal deficit. And there's a lot of different ways that he can do this. One of those is kind of what happened with FDR back in the after World War II. And it didn't go too well for the United States of America. It's really what produced hyperinflation. But I think that what we're going to see is a more structured approach that is aligned towards the new economic models that we see coming up right now. Now, part of this is gold. And nope, I don't have a gold sponsor for you. I'm not going to promote a gold sponsor, but I want you to listen to this.
What happened to the audit of Fort Knox? Which one are you talking about?
There was, I think when you first got into office, you and Elon Musk talked about auditing
Well,
the
we
gold
wanted
to make
to go
sure it's
knock
there.
on the door, Fort Knox, very thick door, and to see whether or not we have any gold in there, because we take a look at it. It's a very interesting question, yeah. We played with that. I wonder if they left the gold in Fort Knox, because they steal a lot.
No need to really do that, though?
Well, I don't know. I think it's, I do want to go to Fort Knox sometime. I want to see if the gold is there, which I'm sure it will be.
What happened?
The old man looks tired, but, he's got a good question there. I wonder if it's there. They like to steal a lot. And see, I think that this is where things are really going to transition and change when Warsh comes in. Gold is going to be the key to understanding how we pay off our debt. And let me explain this here in a second. But Hope continues, $50 Rumble rant. Oh, man, thanks for all that you do. Donation for the tire fund. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So let's kind of talk about this for a second. Meiji, another $10. You guys are funny. So there was a proposition on a congressional bill for the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And you got to remember, the Sovereign Wealth Fund bills have not gone through yet, but there was a preliminary bill that was built up. And in this bill, one of the things it said was to repeg the value of gold from 1948 Bretton Woods time frame at $42.42 to current gold value, which I think is just below $5,000. Doing that would put massive financial pressure and strain on the Federal Reserve to a point where they basically collapse. So we know they can't do that necessarily, but integrating stablecoin companies like Tether, so forth, into the Federal Reserve framework, and then utilizing a different level of bond structuring. What do we mean by that? When you start to use appreciating assets in the construct of bonds and not just the good faith of the American people, this is where you start transitioning from a deficit into a surplus. And how does that work? When you start to issue bonds based upon, let's say, Bitcoin and gold and silver, what begins to happen is if those assets begin to stabilize and go up, if they begin to appreciate over time, you got to remember, when inflation goes up, gold goes up in price, right? When your purchasing power goes down, gold goes up, which means that it begins to become a hedge for paying off your deficit. And you can pay off that debt much, much faster as you're borrowing. I think that this becomes a good structured idea to what we're going to see Fed Reserve Warsh actually begin to implement is relationships with these stablecoin companies and new structures for the various different bonds that are used. Sting Tammy, $20 holla. Josh needs a lot of dollar for the kid truck holla. That's right. P. Wada, the challenge, $10. Guys, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you. So gold is going to destroy the Fed. Remember, if they inflation at 42 cents to current market value, the Fed would go out of business. They'd become obsolete. They would have to give back everything. It'd be crazy. I hope it does happen. Trump's new leverage on deportation slaps a 25% tariff on any country refusing to take back its citizens. Now, this is kind of interesting, guys. I'm going to pull this up, and then I'm going to talk about this.
Them in jail, or in many cases, sending them back to their lovely countries where they came from. And sometimes their country will say, we don't want them, we're not taking them. I'll say, that's okay. Slap about a 25% tariff on their country, and they call back. We would love to have them back immediately. In addition, the Department of Home them in jail. Or
Now, why is that interesting? Because the Supreme Court ruled 4 months ago Trump couldn't do that. But he's still doing it. And guess what? The countries are agreeing to it. So if the countries agree with it, then it can't get shot down. This is where it gets really, really interesting. So I love how Trump is actually doing this, because foreign countries are so damn petrified of Donald Trump that he's going to go after them on the context of tariffs and charge them an arm and leg for their imports, that they just don't mess around. They begin taking back all of their illegal immigrants that they allow to come over into this country. So huge right there. Another 25% tariff onto these countries if they do not take back their illegal immigrants. Dr. Oz today. So interesting enough, you got two massive DOJ investigations going on. You got one in California, you got one in Minnesota, all pertaining to massive amounts of government fraud. And this is fraud that is the state dictated and federal funds coming in, Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, all of this. And Dr. Oz is here talking about California. Listen to this.
This past week, again, with this time with DEA agents, they're trying to open up MacArthur Park, where the Sinaloa cartels basically set up shop. By the way, we discovered 19 kilos of fentanyl. That's enough to kill 190,000 Americans. And again, this is all taking place under the nose of the current leadership of California. But the hospice fraud, it's not just about stealing money. They're stealing your life. They're taking away your health. They're stealing from our most vulnerable in ways that are so reprehensible. I would have thought that alone would have been morally compelling enough to act. And here's the deal for anyone just worried about the money part of it. If we take the fraud out of Medicare, just Medicare alone, we would double the life expectancy of the Medicare Trust Fund, which means if you're working right now and you're worried about Medicare being there for you, or if you're on Medicare now and you're worried that it might have some financial issues, we would double its life expectancy if we just took the fraud out of the system. In aggregate, Medicare and Medicaid, as the vice president was speaking about in that earlier clip with Nick Shirley, it's about $100 billion that we're looking at now that we can bring back into the Treasury. And so I'm compelled both to do the job as CMS administrator that the president's put me in charge of to get that money back, or never leave the building. So that
okay. Do you remember last week when Donald Trump said something that was really, really important? He goes, my objective is to balance the budget. And if we can reduce all of this, if we can cut all of this fraud, we would have a balanced budget. I want you to begin to think about that. What Donald Trump is trying to tell you is that each year, out of the $7 trillion spent out of the U.S. federal budget, which is borrowed money, of which you're paying almost $1 trillion on interest on per year, that very close or even surpassing $1 trillion of it is fraud, is nonsense thievery, money laundering, embezzlement, and not by actors that are just trying to rip the government off. It's being done by politicians, people in positions of power, and by state bureaucracies. These are the ones that need to be held accountable. And I hope that we see an indictment on Tim Walz. I hope we see an indictment on Gavin Newsom. We fucking better need it. And I'm telling you, listen, if we get all the way to 2028 and this shit ain't resolved yet, if there's no accountability, if it's coming, I'm going to be a very hard sell. I'm going to be talking revolution by that time. It's going to be 1776 all over again. Just being honest here. House Republicans will move forward with expelling Ilham Omar as soon as they receive documents proving she committed immigration fraud. Well, the documents are all out there. It's very, very well documented. And Ilham Omar is potentially going to be deported. Remember, just 2 weeks ago, Congress just passed a new law stating, and Democrats jumped on board with it, stating that if you are a participant in fraud and you have a green card in this country, we can deport your ass. Huge. Donald Trump on Truth Social, Palestinian Schumer, famous for handling Hussein Obama's administration, for the Democrat-led election integrity group that will no doubt try to suppress Republican voters and interfere with our elections. Furthermore, Mark Elias, the terrible lawyer with a horrible track record, is also involved. This is the same disgusting individual who is responsible for the fake Russia dossier from a foreign nation to meddle in the 2016 election, which I won in historic fashion. The Democrats are totally unhinged. We will not allow them to threaten the integrity of our elections. During the historic election in 2024, when I won every single swing state and decisively won both the electoral and popular votes by wide margins, the Republicans had an election integrity army in every single state to preserve the sanctity of each legal vote. We will be doing the same thing again in 2026, but it'll be much bigger and stronger. All Americans should have their voices be heard by casting a vote. Be assured this election will be fair. I love this because one of the things that Donald Trump is hitting at is something that we actually talked about a few days ago. Hold on. Vegas Dirt Pusher says, so Ilhan Omar gets deported with 6 million, 30 million. What a punishment. So I don't think that she's honestly going to get deported. I think that she's going to lose her citizenship. Her green card's going to be pulled, and I think she's going to go to jail for a very long time. That's my thought. And MTG left for Costa Rica. Fuck her. But going back into what he's talking about here, Donald Trump hinted at this. Remember, we were hinting at this with Virginia. What if Virginia's referendum vote was actually a setup? Was a setup by CISA, Cyber Command, to watch and see what happens, to see how they vote, how they dump them in there, and then utilize their network of federal judges to go in there and basically negate what had happened. By the way, that referendum, even though it was passed, is not going through. The Supreme Court has shot it down. Rotten Dog, why YouTube Super Chats can beat Rumble Rants. Let's help Josh get some tires. Awesome, guys. Appreciate it. Yeah. Just go to give.redpills.tv. Give.redpills.tv. So much easier. So right there, you have an election integrity group being formed by Mark Elias, as well as Eric Holder. And what is this telling you is that the Democrats are ramping up because they know that they're in for a load of shit in the midterms. They don't have any money. You have Democrat incumbents leaving their elections because they can't afford to keep on going forth. You've already had a governor and like another 2 governors already drop out because of this. The Supreme Court just cleared Alabama Republicans to pursue a new voting map. A redrawn map in Alabama would give Republicans a structural advantage that lasts a decade. Democrats will call it gerrymandering. Republicans will call it their legal right. Either way, the courts just stepped aside and said, go ahead and do it. So now we have Indiana, we have Texas, we have Florida, we have Alabama. This is huge. 64,000 mail-in ballots were Xeroxed in the back of a conference room during the Milwaukee, Wisconsin 2020 election by Claire Woodall-Vaughn, which were all for Joe Biden. She was then caught on camera at 3 a.m. on November 4th, uploading the fraudulent tabulated votes on a flash drives without any chain of custody or election observers to steal the Wisconsin for Joe Biden in the 2020 election. An email from Ryan Chu at the election group emailed Claire Woodall-Vaughn stating, damn, Claire, you have the flair for drama, delivering just the margin needed at 3 a.m. She was caught and fired. How many other election workers and other states committed fraud just like this and got away with it? The 2020 election was absolutely stolen. And we are seeing all of this come forth right now very, very slowly. Venezuelan whistleblowers have come forward, providing evidence that 2020 election votes were rigged. The 2020 election was rigged. Even Susie Wiles has said that you're going to find out that Donald Trump has actually won many of these states. Gateway Pundit reporting many making arrests soon. 2 U.S. officials hint at upcoming evidence supporting Trump's 2020 stolen election claims. I did say something to this. I said arrest soon. If it's a bunch of no-name people that we've never heard of, they were stuffing ballot boxes or working elections and running the machines, then that is not accountability. We want the NGOs involved. We want the Democrat leadership that was involved. The state officials that were involved, we want them all behind bars. So you have to go back and you have to look at this in a completely different perspective, because what I think we're going to see is a bunch of I had some more Rumble rants come in, and doing it on my phone, it doesn't really work well. I don't want to see a bunch of people you've never heard of that were election workers on the night of election night get arrested. If that's the shit that they want to play, we got some big problems, because we all know that it was the NGO infrastructure behind all of this and a grand conspiracy that stole the 2020 election. This ties directly in with COVID-19. This ties directly in with all of these various different Democrat nonprofit organizations that were set up for voting integrity. What we need to see is Tulsi Gabbard come out with a bombshell report. And this report will show, I'm almost confident, that number one, there was an immense amount of mail-in ballot fraud during the 2020 election, enough to give Joe Biden the margin over Donald Trump in various different bellwether and swing states. Then we're going to see is that there was vote shifting on the tabulators with internet access through foreign adversaries on the Dominion voting machines. We're going to see both of those come out in a report, bombshell report, prior to the 2026 midterms, I believe. If it comes out before the 2026 midterms, Donald Trump is going to take immense action on this. What is that action going to be? He is going to put out an executive order on voter infrastructure, on election infrastructure. Now, that is something that the states cannot touch, and they have to abide by when the federal government actually comes out and prescribes. And what this is going to do, I believe, is remove Dominion voting machines, maybe even ESS machines and other machines, and go towards a voter ID type of structure that he is trying to pass right now with the SAFE Act. That's my thoughts. I think we will see that before the midterm elections. Now, who's going to get indicted over these things? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting. We know Tulsi Gabbard is leading the task force right now on election integrity, that they had the Dominion servers directly from Puerto Rico. They have a grand jury that formed that issues subpoenas in Maricopa County and within Fulton County, Georgia. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see who gets prosecuted off of these grand juries. Hopefully it's NGOs, and you start to see some certain NGOs named within this, like the Open Society Foundation and Black Lives Matters. Tulsi Gabbard is also just announced now investigating the 120 plus U.S. funded biolabs, Metabiota, operating in secret across 30 plus countries. Over 40 of them are sitting in active war zones in Ukraine, potentially exposed to Russian forces right now. These labs receive Pentagon funding through cooperative threat reduction. The Biden National Security Team knew, they lied about it anyway. The COVID lab leak debate was never just about Wuhan. It was about a much bigger network that nobody was supposed to ask why about. RPG 3573 $20 rubber rent. Daddy needs new tires. RPG. Now this one is a little bit bigger, because if you start to see, I love the high, like if you see this, you got FISA-gate in the deep state over here. Brennan, Comey, Obama, right? You got the Clinton pay for play being reopened and reinvestigated over here. Nobody's talking about 2016. Nobody's talking about 2018. But then you're talking about the 2020 election right here. But then you got Tulsi Gabbard, who is going after. We're seeing a lot. We just had more indicted by the DOJ, which was Fauci's assistant, right, for lying about gain of function research. Now you got Tulsi Gabbard going into the biolabs. If they go into these biolabs and they start seeing that gain of function research was never shelved, but instead was funded through proxy through various different countries of origin, including adversaries, oh yeah, heads are going to roll. They better start rolling. And I believe Fauci, this will be the one that actually gets Fauci. NIAID is going to be behind much of the funding that was going into this. We all know that it was through the Defense Intelligence Agency, the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, the DTRA, which this for the Ukraine biolabs was Black & Veatch and then Metabiota. And I believe they worked with Merck out of Germany. But this is going to uncover a massive amount of shit. Of biowarfare. And you notice that this is actually happening right now when there's these risks of all these viruses out there. You got the norovirus, you got this other virus that's going around. Don't you think about that? You get this viral outbreak that is starting to spread. It's not even a very communicable disease. You have to physically touch people with saliva on your hands, right? So you got these viruses that are spreading. And at the same time, Tulsi Gabbard goes, oh, we're going to investigate those biolabs. I bet they're having a burn party right now. I think that is a press back against the potential biowarfare that's being played out right now. Arcadia, California's mayor, Eileen Wang, admits she was acting as a foreign agent for China in a current plea deal. You know, that reminds me of Kathy Hochul's undersecretary, who was a Chinese spy. It reminds me of all the various different Chinese police stations that are clandestinely operating within the United States of America, and like California and New York, and the various different off-the-market biolabs for China that are operating in the United States of America. Infiltration instead of invasion, people. Like, you have to understand that China has already infiltrated the United States of America. They have millions upon millions of their agents already here. Trump is going to China this week. All right. Here you go. I talked about this a little bit last week. Carney last week in Armenia announced the formation of the new rules-based international order, primarily composed of entities related to the dispersed British empirical system. Now Obama is visiting with Carney. What about the Logan Act, huh? What purpose does it serve for Obama to meeting with the Prime Minister of Canada? This is signaling and messaging. It wasn't only him. It was Alex Soros as well that was there. So think about this for a second. Last week, Barack Obama goes and meets with Prime Minister Carney of Canada a few days after Carney gets back from declaring the former rules-based international order dead and that him and the rest of the British Empire surrogates are going to form a new one. And then Barack Obama goes out there with Alex Soros. This is the rise of their new world order. This is what they're trying to do. They're trying to rebuild. Excuse me. They're trying to rebuild what Donald Trump has systematically destroyed. And they're going to come back smarter and more efficient than ever before. This is them planning for 2028. I guarantee it. So Donald Trump today, if James Comey ever went to jail, would you let him? Let's see what he says.
It caused a lot of bedlam. I don't know. It's like saying to me, if Comey ever went to jail, would you let him out? It might be a hard one for me. Does that make sense? It might be a hard one to me, because he's a dirty cop. But Jimmy Lai isn't that way. But Jimmy Lai, he caused.
Jimmy lied. Popeye 9090 $10 room rent. What about all the fraud involved in the national debt? Are we liable for that? Oh, great question. That's a conversation and a half right there. Trump talking about James Comey. Would he let him out of jail? I don't know. It was kind of interesting how he I don't know. He's a dirty cop, but I'm telling you, I believe that Comey is the leaker. Comey is the one that is actually pointing in the direction to take down all the other members of the deep state. And this is why we're going to see Brennan go down. We're going to see Clapper. We're going to see Rice. And I believe even see Obama. Now that Obama is back in the game, meeting with Carney and Soros, I think that that's going to be the next step. This is going towards Obama. John Brennan has admitted there's a legion of deep state operatives in the DOJ and the CIA resisting Trump's orders. I don't know if this is John Brennan baiting Donald Trump to start, just cleaning house within the CIA and the various different intelligence agencies, or if he's being kind of legitimate. Now, if he's being legitimate, this is going to get really, really interesting really, really fast, because I think what's going to happen is that Trump is there's one man they can bring in who can weed all of this out. General Michael Flynn. I know people out there I don't care. General Michael Flynn, I think, will be brought in to clean that out based upon John Brennan's statements. He is the one man who knows who they are, how to weed them out, how to get them out. And I think that he will be brought on probably a special task force with Tulsi Gabbard to begin that process. And basically what you do is you start setting up moratoriums on various different intelligence agencies actors and basically implement forced retirements on a lot of them, because most of them are ones that have been there for a very, very long time. This was an interesting post. I didn't expect to hear about this. Enriched uranium has been removed from Venezuelan research facility and transported to the United States of America. Did anybody know that there's enriched uranium in Venezuela? What was enriched uranium doing in Venezuela? Anybody? And then Donald Trump said today that maybe Venezuela will become the 51st state. Even Delcy Rodriguez came out and said, well, we never considered it, but that'd be interesting. Be kind of cool. But Venezuela had enriched uranium and they gave it to the United States. Now, go back to what I've been saying. Donald Trump is going out there and building a massive amount of data centers, which are going to utilize micronuclear reactors, of which need uranium. And what are you going to see? You're going to see a rush on uranium mining, which is very, very scarce and hard process to do, which means that any uranium that is still active in the world today is incredibly valuable. Hence why Donald Trump just took the uranium from Venezuela and why Donald Trump is trying to get all the uranium from Iran. Trump has read Iran's response to the U.S. peace proposal. He says, I don't like it. Totally unacceptable. It's funny. So basically, Iranian sources laid out what Tehran actually put on the table. A ceasefire across the entire region, including Lebanon, framed as a red line condition. Full lifting of U.S. sanctions and return the frozen Iranian funds. Continued Iranian control of the Strait of Hormuz. Nuclear program to be negotiated separately. Iran describes the response as presented in a realistic and positive framework. Talks will continue via written exchange mediated by Pakistan. All of the things that it just said right there are not going to happen. And what is it going to take? It's going to take the civilian government getting stronger and stronger and stronger until this actually gets transitioned over. What do I think of the next steps for Iran? I think that there's a good potential that we see bombing campaigns begin again. This weekend, 3 U.S. ships transited the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran launched 121 missiles at them and landed 0. So Mario put a theory out here, and he said, why did the U.S. let Iran attack 3 destroyers in the Strait of Hormuz? The U.S. intercepted everything. No American ships damaged. Then they struck back hard, smashing Iranian launch sites, command centers, and assets near Bandar Abbas and Kamesh Island. Some are calling it a calculated move, baiting Iran into revealing hidden positions so the U.S. could map and destroy them all in one. But not only that, is showing the superiority of naval firepower. They launched 121 missiles and drones at these ships and hit none. 0. That's huge. Now we're getting indications. UAE, United Arab Emirates, has launched direct military strikes inside Iran. Now, actually, this started about 2 weeks ago. So if you remember on the show, we talked about this, that, hey, that the Trump administration had guaranteed, I think it was like a $60 billion arms package for Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, Qatar, and Israel. And I said, oh, why is that? Because they're going to be the ones fighting back against Iran. That no longer is this going to be the United States fighting it, that he is putting the fight in the hands of the regional partners. Why? Because Iran can't sustain a long-term war against its other regional partners. Also, is that disrupts the flow of oil through the Strait of Hormuz and oil production within that region if it goes into all-out war. But let me ask you this. If a war does break out in the Middle East and oil prices skyrocket globally, Donald Trump did something today. He removed the federal gas tax from gasoline. Did you know this? Today, Donald Trump removed the federal gasoline tax. Not only that, he's refilled up our strategic petroleum reserve. The U.S. produces more oil and gas right now than any other country. We're exporting more than any other country. Remember what I told you a few weeks ago? I said, I bet you if this begins to get real bad and global oil and gas prices start to skyrocket up, Donald Trump will put out an executive order mandating that U.S. oil prices used domestically are capped at like $80 a barrel. And why is that going to happen? You have Iran dumping their oil because it's overflowing. You have you have UAE and Iran bombing each other's oil infrastructure. Qatar bombed Iran's oil infrastructure. Iran bombed Qatar's oil infrastructure. Donald Trump just gave them $60 billion of weapons and munitions for that entire region. He's pulling out militarily, and he's going to allow the regional partners to go in there and finish off Iran's, the IRGC, if they don't back down. That is going to skyrocket global energy prices. And who's going to benefit? The United States, because all their ships are coming to the Gulf of America right now. If he can implement some type of executive order to cap domestically sold oil and gas to $80 a barrel here in the United States of America, our gas prices go down, and now they're selling it for $120, $130 a barrel everywhere else. And he's going to come out of China with an oil deal. Guarantee it. China's going to be buying probably, by number, $365 billion worth of oil and gas is what I think. All right. Last one of these from Rumble, and then we're going to get into the next segment here. All right, parents, real talk for a second. America is about to hit a huge milestone. We're coming up on America's 250th birthday, 250 years of freedom, grit, sacrifice, and the greatest experiment government the world has ever seen. This is the perfect moment to help your kids understand why this country matters, not just fireworks and hot dogs, but the story behind it all. There's a free guide called The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday, and it's honestly a great way to introduce kids to how America began, who the founding fathers were, what they risked, and why the ideas they fought for still matter today. The guide sends kids back to the moment when brave men signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing full well they were risking their lives for freedom. It breaks it all down in a way kids can actually understand and enjoy without watering it down or turning into boring schoolwork. If you care about raising kids who know where this country came from and why it's worth preserving, this is something you'll want to grab. The best part, it's completely free with a special offer. You just need to pay the $2 for shipping and processing. Just head to freeusabirthday.com. That's freeusabirthday.com. The Kid's Guide to America's 250th Birthday is yours for your kids today. America's story matters. Make sure the next generation knows it. All right, disclaimer on that one. Read the fine print. If you don't cancel after you receive that first one, they will charge you like $31 a month. That's just a special offer of why you're getting that one free. Everyone that comes after that is through subscription. So just go read the fine print. Anna Paulina Luna. Let's listen to what she has to say here.
Is Florida Congresswoman and Chairwoman of the Task Force on the Declassification of Government Secrets, Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman, thank you for joining us tonight. So as we looked over what's been released so far, it's a lot of videos, a lot of pictures, a lot of things that make you go, I wonder what that is. But I think in the age of AI and just what we can see on video now, I don't know that a lot of Americans are coming to any conclusion. I guess that's kind of the point of it. But I guess my question to you is, in your investigation and some of the teasing that you and other members of Congress have done, apparently there's more stuff that's going to come out. Do you think this is going to get more kind of concrete or more conclusive, or will it continue to be, here it is, make of it what you wish?
Well, to be clear, all the images that you saw in that initial rollout on Friday, these are not AI-generated images. As you saw, even in that video that you just played, there are redactions. So this came off of either military observation, aircraft, etc. And then, obviously, in the next 30 days or so, in talking with the Pentagon, actually this Thursday, we will obtain these 40-plus documents by name that we at the task force have been specifically requesting. As far as more concrete evidence is concerned, I want to be very clear about something. All of the documents that you saw released per President Trump's directive this February, up until recently, these were considered classified. We actually weren't even able to talk about them without threats of losing our security clearances or being prosecuted. As you saw, the whistleblowers that came forward that did discuss it, there was whistleblower retribution. We've tried a number of times to either get disclosure in legislation, whistleblower protections pertaining to UAPs in legislation, and every single time we do, even though this is one of the most bipartisan, bicameral things in the country, we're stonewalled and we're blocked. And so I'm hoping that this will change the discussion of that Congress will move forward in providing protections, because we've also been told, you know, whether or not there exists back engineering programs regarding this technology, whatever it might include. Our goal and objective is to, A, ensure that our taxpayer funds are not, A, being spent somewhere they shouldn't, B, that people aren't breaking federal law, and C, this is an issue of national security. And so based on our investigations, what I can tell you is I'm glad I can finally talk about it. Some of the documentation that you actually saw released this past Friday did include, up until recently, FBI investigative or investigations that actually took place here in Florida. And to be clear, we actually were working very closely with the FBI because they were one of the few government agencies that was actually taking this seriously. And based on what we're seeing, you know, we've talked to other governments about this. There's more to come. That's all I'll say on that.
More to come. In the documents that they're looking to get released from the DoD, one of them is actually a missile engagement from a fighter jet, I believe, with a UFO. So that's going to be pretty interesting. And there's a lot of other things that they're asking to be let into. This is not good enough. And what you're getting is, you have to understand, is that this is a tiered structure. What Congress is penetrating into right now is not the alien retrieval and the exotic vehicle retrieval programs. It's not the reverse engineering. It's none of that stuff. That is within a deep infrastructure under the SAP programs within the intelligence community, dispersed amongst them, the Department of Energy and the DOW, that is then contracted out to the military industrial complex as kind of like the guardianship. And to get to that is massive, and it's probably not going to happen. What you're seeing is the DOW's investigatory reporting and kind of the complaints and the different whistleblowers or the different pilot sightings that they have coming in. They're trying to get this level of classified information out there. And so this is why we talked about how this is going to be in 3 different phases. And that's this is just phase 1 of a multi-phase program. And that was give.redpills.tv for everybody out there that I just had up. Rep. Burrell said on the UFO files, the real information lies somewhere in between government and the right here. I mean, I will play the clip because he's saying exactly what I was just trying to tell you.
The first videos that came out are the low-hanging fruit, the videos that the Department of War had readily available, and frankly, that were easily searchable by terminology like UAP and UFO. So now that those first low-hanging fruit, video files and documents have been released, it's going to take a little bit more of a deeper dive and investigation and go tracking down some of this, following some of the threads, speaking to some of the people that worked on these programs, trying to get access to the real files. And I believe the real information is going to lie somewhere in between this government and the private sector. So we have what's called federally funded research and development centers, companies like Rand Corporation, MITRE Group, MIT Lincoln Labs, and they have kind of coordinated this government effort with the private industry. A lot of them are doing this secret work, and I've sent letters to be able to get them to release some of these documents and videos as well.
And see, that's where the executive reauthorization of control and authority over this technology actually comes from. And this is the next stage that we're entering into here, probably in the next 6 to 12 months. Lou Elizondo, wait until the public sees the UAP activity at the International Space Station. He says, I was at Space Force. Wait until the American people find out what NASA knows. Huge. All right. Well, I'm glad we got through a show, even though it was late. And I appreciate you guys sticking around and staying up late with me tonight. You guys are awesome. Thank you for all the Rumble rants to help fix my tire, as well as the super chats that came in on YouTube. You guys are freaking awesome. I love you. As a reminder, redpills.tv is the best place to go over there and help and support us. There's ways to go over the redpills.tv and just follow us on all of our channels. There's a support where you can go out there and you can donate to us, whether it's PayPal or GiveSendGo or crypto wallets, whatever that is, or just the rants that you guys do, as well as premium subscriptions on YouTube, Substack, Local, socialredpill.com, and X. So I appreciate all of you guys and everything that you guys do to help support everything that we do here. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. And we're going to see you guys next time tomorrow. Good night.
time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns in silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Voice still calls, we the people will not fall. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see. The silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a last prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.
There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone, patriots rise. We are one, land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time, there was a time, now is the time. Do it, Q.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
The air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!